Good morning, Howlnest. You're tuning into 99.7 Crystal Radio, the peak of the kingdom and of musical entertainment. Today's forecast is a crisp and cool 48 degrees and projected to sink even lower, so don't forget your jacket on your way into the office. The orange fog emanating from the kingdom's inevitable infection has made visibility a tad low on the roads this morning, so be sure to pay attention and stay safe. We've got a nice, smooth lineup of crisp classical jazz to match today's mood, but we've got a special guest this morning, known by his listeners as one of the most velvety voices in the kingdom, the Superforge's own Rusty. I also hear there's mighty Chazz, the Discord server owner, so feel free to visit the description and hop onto the server for some chill vibes and high fives.
Thanks, Chazz. It truly is a wonderful day in the kingdom. Or at least in my neck of the woods. I mean, shit. Hollow Knight was free last month on PS Plus, and those numbers are up, baby. In the past, I've ranked 3 sets of charms, being my most and least favorite, as well as the ones that are kinda in between, but the problem lies in the ones I haven't ranked yet. See, with all the lists clogged up, this leaves an entire set of charms untapped, unaccounted for, and unfucked with. And I'm not really one to squander wasted potential, so I hope you're ready for another chaotic stream of consciousness as a proverbial last hurrah, just so I can finally put the nails in this 14-month deep coffin and just move on with my life. Jesus Christ. Please kill me. Despite these charms being ranked from most to least forgettable, I am only working with the remaining 10 charms that haven't seen a spotlight in any of the 3 previous videos, which are these right here that I hope I'll remember to edit in right beside my little chibi thing. Okay, fuck's sake, I can't be bothered to write a proper transition for any of these, so I'm just gonna start counting, fuck it. I'm putting Steady Body on number 10 because of all the charms I've left to choose from on the remaining list. It seems like squeezing any mileage out of this one is gonna require the most effort. I haven't seen anyone really offer a proper case in favor of this charm, and I really just find it to be, I don't know, migraine-inducingly pointless? Is that what I'm looking for? I think that's what I'm looking for. The more I say the word Steady Body, the less it sounds like a charm in Hollow Knight, and the more it starts sounding like an informal vernacular for a social anxiety medicine. Itching to ask that cute mantis queen out on a date to the fountain this weekend? You have a final exam that's gonna kick the cheeks of your ass through your mouth because you're a daft fool that didn't study? Take yourself some Steady Bodies. Yeah, some Steady Bodies! Yeah, this thing's beyond pointless. Like, what are you, afraid you're gonna fall off the ledge if you whack a door too hard? Just upstrike the damn thing, fuck's sake. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, but not all blessings are gracious. Where some events come into our lives as blessings, Joni's blessing comes as more a lesson. And that lesson is to not judge the utility of a charm by the amount of notches it requires from you. Joni's blessing increases the wearer's health by around 40%, usually rounded up, at the repelling expense of not being able to heal. So, you know, once those masks are gone, they're gone. I feel like this is a nice spot to emphasize the word forgettable in the title because it has some uses, sure. I'm not gonna get on my soapbox and say that it's completely a lost cause, but out of the 10 charms I have left to rank, Joni's blessing falls on the lower end, not because this charm is inherently bad, but because there's not a single situation coming to my head where I would prefer having this charm over literally any other charm. Whatever Joni accomplished during her lifetime in the kingdom, I'm sure wasn't nearly great enough for 4 notches to be the asking price of her blessing, because unless this blessing is a fucking Silk Song release date, I'm really just not interested, okay? I'm sorry. Defender's Crest is acquired by going down into the sewers and defeating the former King Shit of Fuck Mountain, or I guess Shit Mountain, if I'm being specific. Demand favors and extra lore from NPCs at the negligible expense of smelling like a bug's asshole. And without diverting the topic too much, can we just take a step back and think about just what an insane concept that is? These fumes give your friends such massive headaches that they immediately resort to giving you more info, lowering their prices, sometimes even flat out refusing you service. Whatever they can possibly do to get you to just move on so they can be rid of you. Imagine walking into a supermarket and buying groceries and smelling so bad that the clerk takes one whiff of you and says, Jesus Christ, tell you what, I'll lower that rice to $2.50 for you to get the fuck out of this building. This guy's bowel movements probably felt like hot knives. but that's not to say it doesn't have some pretty hilarious implications. It's definitely not a charm that should be taken seriously, but considering it asks only one notch from you, and it comes with its own assortment of laughs and silly moments, I don't know, it's kind of hard to find a reason to hate it. I tend to draw a very hard line between giving the player an advantage versus giving them a failsafe, so needless to say, I've had a problem with this charm from the very beginning. Having this charm in your build feels very uniquely shameful at times, because the entire concept of this charm hinges on the player just not being able to defend themselves. When the player is low on HP, their strength will become greatly increased. Their nail has a cool little red reflectance to it, and you just overall become more badass. Like the screen gets this nice little border around it, it looks like veins popping out and shit, and it's fucking cool. I have a couple problems here, namely its necessitation of the wearer to cock tease the line between life and death just to benefit from its effects, which only makes Steel Soul runs that much more perilous. Secondly, the effect can be easily bypassed when facing double damage enemies and bosses and such, because the charm's buff only springs into action once the knight is left with 1 HP. So being at the receiving end of a giant club or a claw or some other disastrous double damage dick suckage, the damage you'll have taken will have fast forwarded right to your pathetic death. And there you go. 2 wasted notches and a charm that would have gone to better use if I pinned it to my fucking fridge. Oh well. At least it looks cool. An elegy is a poem of reflection, typically defined as a lament for the dead, and despite my utmost condolences going towards the unfortunate grubs that passed on to the next life, I'll be honest in saying the charm itself might be a little more deserving of that elegy, because great golly Miss Molly, this thing is dead like Dwight D. Eisenhower. The Grubberfly's elegy charm fires white hot beams of something. Magical miracle energy that deals around half the damage of whatever your base nail is. The one problem I have is that this effect is only active when you're at maximum health, which is really only a reiteration of the shortcoming Fury already suffers from. Is it really worth it if the buff you receive requires this steep a condition for it to take effect? And there are no shortcuts for this shit either. Think you can work around the rules and put on Joni's blessing so you're always at max health? Nope. You take one hit and those sun rays go bye-bye permanently, no matter how much health Lifeblood regens for you. It's a great active effect for long-range damage, but the prerequisite for having and keeping that effect on you is just too tall an order for too large a percentage of players. You don't even get soul if the beam hits anything. I hope it's ready for the life after this one, because the only elegy I'm reciting here is the elegy lamenting this dead, useless paperweight. The Lifeblood core charm is arguably the best Lifeblood charm, as it offers 2 more hearts than its little brother at the expense of only 1 additional charm notch. At the cost of 3 notches, it accomplishes a task only a select few ever thought to be in the reach of humanity, which is to resuscitate the usefulness of Grubberfly's elegy and actually make it worth a goddamn. Unfortunately, this is really the only redeeming quality I can highlight, because being the best Lifeblood charm sort of equates to being the shiniest training wheel on your little cousin's bike. The functionality of Lifeblood charms are as straightforward and as cut and dry as you could imagine. You just put them on and you get more health. Save your soul for spells and shit. Lifeblood charms are safety net charms when it's all said and done. That's just what they are. And it wasn't until I got as invested in the game as I did when I started realizing the utility I was denying myself by continuing my dependency on it. These are nice charms to have on you if you don't feel like you have the health to brave a certain encounter, but once you've gotten used to everything, it might be time to take off those training wheels and get yourself a soul eater, my dude. Unbreakable greed is exactly what it sounds like. Sate your avarice by collecting more money from the poor creatures you shake down because you're a hapless capitalistic bastard. The Fragile Greed charm and its Unbreakable variant allows you to simply become 20 to 60% richer, not me, that's the wiki page saying that, by putting in the exact same time and doing the exact same work. More bang for your buck, so to speak. It's the only breakable charm that isn't worth cock while fighting the dream bosses because money doesn't exist in dreams. Additionally, Geo goes from valuable commodity to clutter better very quickly as the game naturally unfolds, and even more so with the effects of this charm. It's never something you have on your knight for more than half the game's duration, because by the time you've humped all the Hallow Nest halls and shook down everyone you can find, the only 3 things left to spend Geo on are the Unbreakable variants of each fragile charm. And upgrading a charm that gives you more Geo when you've likely only 2 other items to purchase will never not seem counterproductive to me. It's great to start off the game, but that's about it. Gathering Swarm is particularly useful for those unwilling to leave behind their loose change and emotional baggage. For those players who tend not to find the splendor of hard work and can't be fucked with, walking, the Gathering Swarm charm is every platformer's designated money magnet power-up. It summons a little swarm of flies that are able to dislodge hard-to-reach Geo from thorns, spikes, and other hazards the knight may not be able to access. You're still fucked if it hits water though, so, just keep that in mind. Unbreakable Greed and Gathering Swarm are such an iconic duo that whatever I spouted off in the last paragraph, I might as well just copy and paste here. I don't think I've ever gotten to the end game once while thinking about this charm, just period. Not a single playthrough in my 1,000+ hours of mischief have I looked at Gathering Swarm and thought, man, Pantheons ain't gonna be shit with this in my build. It's a convenience charm at its finest. It's not useful during the end game simply because it isn't really meant to be, As soon as you've cleaned up all the shops in Hallow Nest, Gathering Swarm goes from another must-have to just another shiny-looking trinket. Not to mention, you'll have likely found relics and shiny toys you can throw at Lim in exchange for more cash. I didn't even look at this thing for the entire second half of the game, and I'm more than confident that you haven't either. So yeah, there you go. Despite Unbreakable Heart being on this list, I still do nurture a bit of a fondness for this charm, just because of how handy it can seem to come in some boss fights. However, I still tend to not prefer any of these charms when there's a more useful choice available, so despite this being on the number 2 slot, I don't know, it's aight. It's okay. Unbreakable Heart is still a training wheel charm in my opinion, but its primary drawback is nullified when upgraded to the Unbreakable variant. This is an objective step or 2 up from the Lifeblood charms that offer you extra health masks because these extra hit points can actually be regenerated via healing if necessary. Whether it's fighting tanky bosses or engaging in precision platforming, that extra health boost is just... it's never not comfortable. The only scenario I can imagine where the Lifeblood charms are preferred over the Unbreakable Heart would be to prolong the effect of the aforementioned elegy charm, which to me is sort of like trying to find the nutritional value of Scotch tape. I feel like a lot of these charms went without being ranked for such a long time because a lot of these are simple quality of life charms that maximize the player's convenience as opposed to offering actual advantages in combat. And I can't really say the same for this one. It's just fucking, it's Longnail. Okay, it's Longnail. It's fuck-mothering Longnail, the okayest and least forgettable charm. It offers an average amount of functionality at an average notch expense. It's one of the first charms you'll probably get, and it can wedge itself into any build you can think of. It's a straightforward range buff, nothing more, nothing less. It's precisely what the house ordered. Replaceable, yet versatile. Exactly what the player expects. You aren't given some long-ass Yu-Gi-Oh card looking description that tells you how it all works. You're not building a house or learning neuroscience. What you expect is what you get, period. No tricks, no gimmicks, no strings attached, no smoke and mirrors or sleight of hand, no microtransactions or pay to win fuck shit, no loot boxes, no down payments, 0% interest, candidly commonplace, normal as Nancy, frank as Frankfurt, and as blunt as the medical rod in my Uncle Bill's back. It's not rocket science, it's not music theory. It's a fucking piece of metal that makes your weapon longer. That's it. That's the whole deal, and that's all it's ever gonna be. Holy shit, Rusty actually finished a series for once in his life. Yeah, I really appreciate the fucking vote of confidence. Thanks for tuning into The Forge, and I'll see you, whenever the hell Silksong gets released, I guess. In the meantime, download this really cool skin I made and plug it into your game. Yeah, that's about it, I guess. See ya.